Hey guys, how's it going? It's Carlos from the We're Just Fans podcast. Thank you for joining us this fine evening. I'm joined, of course, by my co-host. You know him as the man, the one and only Poppy. Let him know what's up, Poppy.
Oh man, what isn't up at the moment, man?
I know.
Everything
Us,
is all over the place. I don't know what's
us
happening.
at the draft. That's what's not up. Us at the draft.
I don't know.
And of course, Rios. Let him know what's up, Rios.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Much better than anyone that was rooting for TCU yesterday. Because man,
Ooh, that was a beatdown.
Dog walked. Just straight dog walk, man.
That was a beatdown. That was awful, man. I could not. Mattress Mac is feeling it today too, though. He lost a lot, didn't he?
But you know, he's clear. He's good.
He's
man.
rolling in it.
Yeah,
He's rolling in it.
I wouldn't feel too sad for him.
You wouldn't feel too sad for him?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's only a few million. He can afford it.
Yeah, it's just
I
a little bit.
I paid full price for my mattress. Okay. So,
Did you? Are you going to pay full price for your mattress?
yeah, I didn't buy it during the window. So
Got it. That makes sense. All right, y'all. So, as you probably already know, if you watched Sunday's game again with the Texans Colts game, it was a nightmare, to say the least, for Texans fans. We did not. It's like almost we couldn't lose correctly. we completely.
we've been
messed
doing
up.
that all season.
No, like you've been losing all season, and now
That's-
when you needed to tank, you didn't.
And that's the only reason. Okay, that's the only thing that I really want to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the plan? What's the idea? So, like, as a franchise, knowing all season long that we need a quarterback, not just a quarterback, but the quarterback of the draft, knowing that and having put ourselves in the position to get him, number one overall.
Nope.
How do we fumble the bag like that?
We
telling
snatched
you, dude.
the jaws of victory, man. It's just
No,
Texans gonna Texan. Texans gonna Texan.
Rios, I need you to explain to me.
Yeah.
oh, I can tell exactly what happened.
How does any of this make sense?
It's lovely. He knew he was going to get fired, so he's giving a big middle finger to Cal McNair, Casario, the organization. You know, I got you guys. I'm fired. I'm gonna make sure we win this game and shoot you guys in the foot on the way out. Middle fingers to everybody.
Do you
Lovey
actually
loves his
think
bear.
that's it? Do you guys actually think that's it? It's all lovey?
Definitely. Oh, definitely. Because if he was, playing for draft position, he would have pulled the starters at halftime.
Well,
There's no reason.
Davis Mills tried helping out by giving us a couple of interceptions.
But what about the players?
Well, that's just him playing to his talents.
What about the players? Because the players know. The players know what the media says. The players know what the fans say.
Look at the
We
Chicago.
all want the quarterback.
They were the Bears were playing their third string quarterback. They had no intention of trying to win that game. They knew what was on the line, and we should have did the same. They should have put out, should have been Driscoll Cat all game or Kyle Allen or make the punter the quarterback. Like
Even so, though, even if you're playing all the starters, who cares? Just lose.
You could have actually just taken out Brandon Cooks because he was a big help too. I thought we were supposed to trade him.
he's
Dude,
gone.
That's a big reason.
He reiterated his desire to get the hell out of here, which I don't blame him.
What are like? Just make it make sense. How? So we moved from the number one overall pick. We moved one down, correct?
Yep.
So who moved up? Who's taking the number one?
Chicago,
right?
Keep in mind the Colts GM and their owner. They had a press conference today. They made it. I don't know if it's just smoke, but it made it seem like they're willing to trade up to the number one to get their QB in. Come on, number one QB.
Wait, who is willing to trade up?
The Colts, the team
Right, the Colts. I mean, because Chicago doesn't really need a quarterback.
Yeah, they're not going to move on from him. He was playing well towards before he got hurt, so they're not moving on from him.
So they probably have like one of the most sought after assets with that number one pick.
Yeah, especially teams looking for a quarterback. The Raiders, the Colts, Titans, maybe the Lions.
Oh, the Lions, yeah. I could see that. I could actually see that.
Like, there's a number of teams that could jump us, and then say someone moves up to number one and they take Bryce. I mean, CJ is not a bad consolation prize, but
it is. It is. It is because It was us. Bryce Young was ours to lose, and that's what we did. We lost.
To the surprise of no one, because you can't even tank correctly.
Exactly.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Do you think the Bears, like we have anything that the Bears would want for that number one pick? Do you think they would care who they give that number one pick to?
you have a stud running back. His name is Rex Burkhead.
We have a great
bag of
quarterback
chips.
named Davis Mills. You can trade to the Bears. You
Like
know?
they call Rex Burkhead the white Jim Brown.
No, but realistically, like, is there anything? Because what would the Colts have to give up for?
Probably DeForest Buckner, their first overall pick, maybe their second round pick, next year's number one. Like there's gonna be a king's ransom for that number one
Do you
spot.
think it's gonna be that much of a high price for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because when you're number one in the draft, you have your pick of the litter. Like that is
Correct.
You know,
correct.
you had the ability to control. Let's say hypothetically, in a parallel universe here, the Texans weren't going to go for Bryce or whatever. They still had great control of that pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could have traded. You know, a scenario that I've seen around was they could have traded, and it maybe could happen, but you know, some of us feel like it's unlikely. They could have traded down or something like that, and got some more picks for it, and waited for like let's say Caleb Williams or something. I mean, just a scenario. I'm not saying that's what it is. It's a scenario. You know, you could you had a lot of control with that pick, and now you lost it. So it does change the trajectory of it for the Texans. Like it doesn't put them in and like you said, Rios, CJ Stroud isn't a bad consolation price. He's really not. It's just
He's not Bryce Young.
Is there anything? Is there any prospect in one of those top few picks that the Bears are after? That maybe they use their number one pick to actually pick somebody, and then we get a pick.
They need an edge rusher, don't they, Rios?
Yeah, they need help along the defensive line. So if they keep the pick, they're probably going Jalen Carter number one. I don't see Will Anderson as the number one.
Do you see him going number one?
I see Jalen Carter going number one if they don't trade down.
The only thing is you have to think to yourself: will the Bears really love Jalen Carter that much to keep him, to use that first round on him, or use it as trade bait?
I like the most realistic scenario would be that they use it as trade bait.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Get something else to get like more picks for the future.
Just with all the exactly. Teams like I said, the Colts, the Titans, the Raiders. I mean, there's a number of hell. Even the Packers could get desperate because I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers is gone.
Yeah.
Like there's a number of teams, and they just it's not going to be an exciting time until April when we get to draft night. Because man, it's just so many different scenarios that could happen between now and then. And
do you see us trading up?
I don't know if we have the assets to do it, and I wouldn't do it honestly.
No, not worth it. I don't think it's worth it either to trade up. I think
Stingley for the number one pick.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the problem though. Like, you couldn't even if you were really trying to tank. Let's just say hypothetically, if you were trying to tank and then you just completely choke at the end,
that doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
Winning that last game makes no sense to me, especially because it was so back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought they were trying to put on a show for the fans type of thing, but at the end of the day, we were going to fumble like we've been doing all season, and actually go for the loss, obviously,
or go for the tie, kick the extra point, go to overtime, tie, and we problem solve.
Get that too at the end of the.
You really wanted that tie, didn't you, Rios?
I did. I like being right.
That tie, yeah, that would have been something. But no, man, it was. I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm pretty sure, like you said, or we were talking about it earlier. We really do feel like it was, or you did say it was Lovie Smith just giving it to the Texans.
It had
2 fingers up on his way out because he knew he was getting fired regardless. Yeah. I'm pretty sure after he had that meeting with Cal McNair came out, he went above Casario's head to try to keep his job, and I knew at that point, writing's on the wall. And especially when they showed them winning the game, they zoomed in on Cal McNair. That look on his face.
Oh yeah, that look on his face gave it away.
This dude's getting fired on that plane ride home. He is not going to make it on the plane ride home.
Dude, as soon as they landed, I don't even feel like he even made it to his office, and he was already gone.
Yep. I told Rios in the group chat, I was like, he better not be even on that plane.
Yeah.
Make him walk all the way to Houston.
Man, that's the thing though. Let's say hypothetically the Colts do trade up to that first pick. I know a lot of fans. I saw their perspective on Twitter and how like it's not a big deal. We still got number 2 or whatever, right? Let's say hypothetically speaking, you got Bryce Young. The Colts trade up to get Bryce Young. Colts get Bryce, and then like the Colts completely dominate the AFC South just like they did with Andrew Luck. Wouldn't that we would definitely come back to that game and say, see, we could have had that kid.
Yeah.
And that's got to be one of those things. It almost feels like
Vince Young.
That and the fact that like no matter how the Texans like try to reinvent their image, they still find a way to just like completely Texan it up. Like they still find a way to mess it up somehow.
Be the laughing stock of the NFL year after year, man. It's just it's embarrassing sometimes.
It is very embarrassing. Like it's hard to be a fan. I mean, we're still going to be our fans, right? But it's still hard to be a fan for this team, and I'm sure like a lot of people feel it. A lot of people feel it.
I don't want to be a fan of an organization that's just going to do that.
Well, I mean, a lot of people in this thing, like now when we're at the stadium, like when we went to the stadium to the Jaguars versus Texans game, we saw a lot of empty seats there. So the fans are letting Cal know exactly how they feel. They're tired of it.
Oh, but if they put a little park outside, then all the seats.
Oh, we're going back to that again? No, but that's what I'm saying. Oh, by the way, we have some viewers going on right now. So if you guys want to drop in a question, drop it in on the comments. We're on YouTube and on Twitch right now live. So drop in a question that you have or something you want to say about the Texans, and we'll put it on there. Anyway, going back to that, yeah, man, the fans they're tired of it. Like you could tell the demeanor's not there. We're just there. We're just showing up because the tickets are cheap. You know what I mean? Like that's for those that do want to go. And a lot of season ticket holders they're not happy. We saw a lot of empty seats, especially in the front. Where the season
but that's the thing. They had the answer. Like a few shows ago when we were talking about the parks outside and the whatever. I kept telling you guys, Carlos, like, ain't nobody gonna care what the lot looks like, what the stadium looks like. People are gonna care what's happening on the field. And with the number 1 pick, Bryce Young, I'm not saying we become a championship team, but we take a step in the right direction.
You're in a better situation than you would
and it
be
was
now.
it was all in our control. It was all in our power. We've been losing all season long, and as a fan, it's been depressing. It's been comical at times, but it's been mostly like a downward spiral into like what it's like being a Texans fan every postseason. But it was under our control, and we just let it slip on purpose. Like
all you had to do is keep doing what you've been doing all damn year.
Just keep Bills on the whole game.
Dude, and what's crazy is I think Lovie Smith at the end of the post game interview, he said, "Oh, we played to win." I was like, "Oh, that's great, Lovie. Where was that all year then? Like that made no sense. Like
where was that against the Cowboys?
Huh? Yeah,
exactly. To be fair, that game was pretty cool.
You need to take that picture, sir.
Oh yeah, you still need to take that picture. Go to Academy.
Let's not talk about that.
Right now.
Okay. I'm working on it.
Okay. Is it really hard to go to Academy or a store that sells a Dallas Cowboys
jersey? I got a friend. I got a friend at work.
You got no friends.
He's a Cowboys fan, so he's not that good of a friend. And
oh yeah, he's a Cowboys fan.
He's gonna bring me a shirt. So I need to stop by work one of these days and do it. A shirt, yeah,
or a jersey,
whatever, a jersey, whatever.
You wear a jersey, sir.
Whatever. What you want me to do? Put the helmet and the pads too?
Yes. Yes. And they're on Amazon for sale. Do it
anyway.
And strike the Al Bundy pose.
Get the hell out of here. It just doesn't make sense to me as a fan, dude. As a fan who wants to watch every Sunday, how do you expect us to show up? How do they expect the fans to show up and support a team that when they had everything to gain by losing,
Like that's what's upsetting though. Like you knew that this season, like you felt like the Texans went in with a purpose, with an
It was
agenda.
a write-off. Yeah, it was a write-off.
It's like, all right, we get the process. It's part of the process. We're losing. We're trying to go for that first round pick. We're trying to be number one in the draft, and then you just completely mess it up at the end. And believe me, I get it. There's people say not to worry. Don't worry. You can still, Chicago isn't taking a quarterback in the first round. You don't know that. I mean, not the quarterback part, but the fact that what they can do with that pick, the trade bait that I was telling you about, the trade capital, how much that pick is actually worth, it's worth a lot. It could be several picks down the line. If some team, like you said, Rios, if they're looking for a quarterback, they'll do whatever it is. They'll give up 2 picks or coming up. They'll give up whatever it is. That's the problem. The part of it that's upsetting is like you had control of it and then you just let it slip away because you were trying to quote unquote win a meaningless game
for no reason. Exactly, it was a meaningless game. There's no reason that for us to do what we did.
Yeah, because they're equally as bad as we are. It's not like the Lions and Packers where you beat the Packers, you make sure they don't make the playoffs. Neither one was making the playoffs.
Exactly. So like you said, they're equally as bad as we are. And then if they do trade up for Bryce Young, then the gap rises.
Yeah, it's 06 all over again when Vince Young just dunked on the Texans his first game here.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. Like, I don't know what McNair needs to do. They were talking about possible replacements for Lovey. At this point, like, it doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter who they bring in because I feel like this next season is going to be another write-off. So
let's see. During the on my way back from work, I was listening to Sports Radio 610, and John McClain was talking, right, along with John Lopez and the guys, right, and so. Well, before we get to that, like, did y'all see the post conference yesterday? The conference that the Texans had yesterday, which was like really odd, like Nick Cassera, the way that Nick Cassera acted. Well, before that, Cal McNair mentioned that he was going to be more involved with the team and the picking coach and all that stuff, that he was going to be more involved. I'm thinking to myself, wait, you weren't before? Like, what's happening? Like, you weren't before? Like you're the owner. Like, you're supposed to be
just
like
phoning it in the whole time. Like,
yeah, what are we doing? Are we playing N64 Donkey Kong and just letting Nick Cassero handle the whole thing? Like, I don't understand what's happening here. Like,
he's playing GoldenEye, bro.
GoldenEye, got it. He's playing GoldenEye. Yeah, 007. Yeah,
he's playing Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. It was Mario Kart. Hannah, they're making me. Why does they keep picking Peach? No, anyway, that's not even how Cal McNair sounds. But
who's throwing all these bananas?
Who's throwing all these bananas, Hannah? I don't know. That's not even how Cal McNair sounds, but we're making it that way for now on. Anyway,
he's an idiot. This franchise is a joke.
We know who's running that team. It was the Reverend Easterby. He was running that team.
Yeah, it was that was a whole mess, and we've talked about the whole Easterby thing, and now we're like trying to get out of it. We're trying to get this good image, but it's just that game, man. It just completely made you had.
All you needed to do was get the quarterback. All you needed to do was get a franchise-changing quarterback,
and
then hopefully years down the line, be smart with your drafts, get an O-line around him, build an actual offense that is not just my boy Pierce tackling like going through breaking like eight tackles every single drive,
running for his life.
Running for his. He's like 22 years old. Like
as soon as he got the ball, there was someone like right in his face, like, "What are you doing, man?"
Yeah. So yeah, that's what he talked about, that he was going to be more involved in the picks or whatnot, and I'm just like, wow. But according to John McClain, Cal was at the meetings last year. He was involved at a lot of those things. So I'm like, what are you doing different then? Like what's the problem? Maybe not be involved. Maybe like don't have But then again, at the end of the day, though, like okay, so we talked about how we've been. He just locked out. Did he just leave?
He did.
All right, he'll lock back on.
He is that upset.
Man, that internet. He's that upset. All right, he's back on. Hold on. He's that upset that he left.
Okay.
He's that upset that he left. Anyway, for our viewers that are watching us, if you want to post any questions, please do so. Whether you're watching us on YouTube or on Twitch, post any questions in the comments, and we'll read them out, or comments, whatever it is. Anyway,
I do have a theory about that.
What's that? Go ahead.
Part of it is I think he's starting to lose a little bit of trust in Caserio. Because normally he would just defer to him more than likely, and now it's like, maybe I need to, put my imprint on this because obviously you can't get it done. We're on a third head coach in 3 years. Yeah. We've won less games than we did a year ago with a better roster. Like,
oh, who is that?
That's Robert. He's saying,
"No, Cowboys, get him out of here."
How do we block?
That's Robert saying, "Go Cowboys." He's just mad because he didn't get invited today.
And he's not gonna acting like that.
He's done. He's fired after this.
He's your doppelganger, so we replace you guys. No one can tell the difference until he starts talking. Like, where's the accent?
Anyway, so yeah, man. So keep going on your theory, Rios. I'm sorry about that.
But yeah, so he's losing trust in Casario, and I think he's seeing the empty seats, and he's seeing I don't know if he has social media, but I'm pretty sure someone's telling him, hey, there's a lot of dissent among your fan base online, in stores, at events. Like, you got to do something different, buddy.
I mean, you saw like when we went to the Jaguars game, we saw where he sits. Like, that's his press office. Our boy Ronnie was like letting us know exactly. Like, look, all the seats around his box empty.
I think we waved at him a couple of times. Like, hey,
that's the sad part, though. Like, I think this organization for the longest time has been very tone deaf. Yes. It predates back. It dates back. It's been very tone deaf, and they need the way that they're connecting with the fans is still not, what it should be. I think they're still very tone deaf. I still can't forget that year that they only allowed season ticket holders to go to training camp, and I was like, bro, you just completely alienated like those people that are, those fans that. Yeah. That to me was
they should just build a little park outside.
They should. That would bring more. They would bring some butts in the seat. Definitely.
No matter.
Okay, are we starting this again?
No, I'm not talking about that.
No.
No matter what we say, dude. The thing is, there's a lot of discontent. The franchise has made mistake after mistake.
Correct.
Right. The whole Watson thing happened. Mm-hmm. That derailed us a few years. Finally got rid of Bob. All the stuff that's been going on. Okay, está bien, chévere. The quarterback's right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You let it slip, almost. We still, like, now.
Propósito, like, you just let it go.
It's right there.
What are we supposed to do now? There's no excuse for it. There's not like, as a fan, I'm trying to rationalize it, right? Like, oh, maybe they do believe in CJ Stroud more than Bryce Young. And maybe that's the case.
Maybe.
But knowing the Texans, that's not the case. I don't trust them at all. At all.
Yeah.
At all.
They haven't earned the benefit of the doubt.
No.
They have not.
No, they haven't had that. They haven't had that since the moment they traded Hopkins, for me. Like, they don't get the benefit of the doubt until they turn this thing around. And they had the tools to do it.
The fact that they approved it from the front office, that they approved the trade, I would have been like, if I was a front office, obviously I'm not, and I saw this Hopkins trade, I'm like, what is this? What are you doing?
Are we getting 21st round picks? Sure, go for it.
Because you trade him in his prime. Oh, look, Robert's posting this because the Cardinals are trading looking for a trade. He says Hopkins to the Cowboys this season. I'm calling it. Boy, if you don't get off my
absolutely not.
No.
I say we offer them Rex Burkhead and that half-eaten sandwich. That's a win-win for both teams.
Trade, like, get the same trade back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they don't even deserve that.
No. The Cardinals, they do.
No, dude, but the fact that you were able to like sign off on that trade, that for me, that's when they lost credibility. And I started feeling like
this week.
Yeah.
If there was ever a moment for redemption, if there was ever a way out,
it was Sunday, the year of our Lord 2023. That was the
time to redeem this front office, this team, because a lot of the young players, they're promising for sure.
They are.
But going into next season with Bryce Young and a brand new coach, it was a clean slate. Let's move on from this. Let's keep building forward. Now we're gonna get a new coach that's not gonna get the franchise quarterback. We can talk about CJ Stroud, okay?
Okay.
Maybe he will be him, right? Maybe he will be that guy.
He was pretty impressive against Georgia. I'll give him that. Like
He has had a lot of good games,
but he's also had a lot of bad games against mediocre talent.
and then you can maybe put that on the rest of the team as well. But Bryce Young was a sure thing. We all think that.
Yeah,
I'm no expert. I couldn't tell you. Just with the eye taste, I would tell you Bryce Young is more impressive. But I couldn't tell you who's actually better, like on the day, right?
I would say he did more with less because Ohio State is wide receiver U right now. Like them and LSU, like they year after year they put out the best wide receivers.
It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense, and I'm upset, as you can tell. So I just don't know. Like we can talk about the past, the ownership, the 3 coaches in 3 years, or whatever. We can talk about the Burkhead trade. We can talk about all of this. Doesn't change anything.
But the thing is that we already have, and we sound like we're beating a dead horse, but that's how bad it is.
Well, that's this franchise.
That's this franchise.
The franchise is the dead horse.
Yeah. And like, I know now, like they're trying to reinvent that image. I don't know if you, so when
no, Marico, no, they're not.
Right.
No, they're not.
Listen,
stop saying that. Stop saying that.
No, they are trying. They are trying. They're trying to reinvent. I said trying. That's the key word. Trying. They're not succeeding.
Yeah, not
They're not succeeding, but they're trying. They're not succeeding though. And here's the thing: one of the ways that I feel like they're trying to reinvent it's a brand new thing. Rios and I saw it when we went to the Jaguars game. They're really promoting that baby blue Oiler color stuff. Remember that? Ronnie himself said it. Like they're really trying to distract the fans away from.
I'm not gonna listen to what you have to say, Carlos. I'm sorry.
No, I'm telling you. I'm telling you what they're doing. Like,
I don't care. Listen.
Okay.
I do not care
just because
what
you
color
don't
the
care,
uniforms
sir,
are.
I'm just telling you what's
I do not
happening.
care if they're
I'm
baby
telling
blue,
you what's
if
happening.
they're pink, white, beige, maroon. I do not care if we're losing 14 games every freaking season.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Like, well, I don't understand what the problem is. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just telling you what their marketing thing is going for to try to reinvent the image. I'm not saying.
¿A quién le importa?
Well, I'm telling you, some people can't care about that stuff, dude. They do. I'm telling you.
It's like with kids, shiny object. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shiny object.
That's
but
the
it
wrong
brings,
way to go about it, though. That's the wrong way to go about it.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm not.
And why are we talking about it?
I don't know why we're yelling.
Because let's say
loud noises.
Let's say
y'all know.
for like, let's say the show comes across the front office desk tomorrow morning, right? Let's just say.
Yeah.
And then they listen to the whole thing. But then one of them goes, oh, see, they're talking about the light blue uniforms. You see that? Oh, it's working.
Well, if they're listening, I can send them my resume. I think I can do a better job with some of these front office guys.
Dude, anybody could.
Anybody could.
Anybody could.
Even if you wrote your resume with a crayon, which I know Rios probably did, he would still do a better job.
I own pens, sir.
Do you? I've seen your handwriting.
Anyway.
Pens. I need a little credibility.
My point is, none of it matters. None of it matters. Now it's 100% up to them. Once draft night comes, whatever happens, whether the Colts trade for number 1, whether we do, whether Chicago keeps it, let's say the Packers, the Seahawks, hell, the Broncos, or whatever, Titans, whatever happens, after draft night is done, they need to come out with a promising squad. They need to come out with a plan, with an idea that can convince the fans that this team is actually worth watching or worth putting our hopes on.
I have a question for you.
So
let's just say someone, whoever trades up for number 1, takes Bryce Young. with number 2, do you take CJ or do you trade down, go defense? Like, let's just say they're not 100% sold on CJ Stroud.
Okay.
What do they do with that pick?
So this is what I would say. The short answer would be yes, you take CJ. And the reason being, let's say next year, because I'm not very familiar with like college prospects and whatnot. Let's say next season, there's a prospect quarterback just as good, if not better than Bryce Young, right? And we have all the odds to get him. We have every opportunity, and we lose all the games to make sure that we put ourselves in a position to draft him, right? That's exactly what happened this season. And the very last week, we threw all that away. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the next Tom Brady is waiting for us next year. We wouldn't get him because that's not the Texans way. So might as well go for CJ. That would be my answer.
What about Rios? How do you feel about Richardson over there in Florida? What if they traded? What if they in the number 2 they took? Let's just say Will Anderson, right? Let's just say sorry, I apologize. Let's just say whoever. Let's take somebody else that's not a quarterback. But then on the 12th pick, right? They take a kicker, yeah. What if they take Anthony Richardson? Is it Anthony Richardson? Yeah, that's the name, right? Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson.
How do you feel about Anthony Richardson?
He's a project. Like basically, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, those are day 1 starters. Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, those are projects. And like, if you go with those 2 guys, I would not use a first-round pick on either one of those 2. If someone else take that risk, let them do it. Because
even if it was a late pick, like if we traded down, you wouldn't go for
a second round. I can see a second round pick, or late first. But both those guys, they're very boom or bust. There's no middle ground with either one of those 2 because Will Levis against the SEC was terrible. It was just his team wasn't great, but it was very, very just.
Kentucky has a lot of issues too, though.
Yeah. Same thing. Anthony Richardson, injury concerns, and most part inferior, competition. But they can have a lot of question marks, and their projects, they're going to have to sit a year or 2. Like, I don't think those guys are ready to start day 1.
You would put them behind Davis Mills?
Oh, why would you do this to me?
You might
think
about it.
There's no way. If you go with one of those 2, you got to bring in a veteran because Davis Mills is not going to push either one of those kids.
So what if the scenario? Just a what if scenario. What if the Texans, if they got a veteran quarterback? What if they got Derek Carr and they had Anthony Richardson in the back right behind them? They have capital.
Not the worst move, but I don't know if I want to pay $40 million a year for Derek Carr because that's probably what he's going to command.
Yeah, okay, might as well just take CJ.
Yeah.
Or what if like the Colts? Because it's still a what? It's still like we don't know the scenario, right? If best case scenario, they don't offer the Bears, like the Colts don't offer the Bears anything because they want to get like Carr or somebody like that, like a veteran QB. And the Bears, they fall in love with Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, and then we get Bryce. That would be like best case scenario. Almost,
that's right? Best case scenario,
right?
Yeah, but that would mean if they get like a veteran QB, that would mean that they're like in win now mode, and I don't think the Colts are in that mode.
They've gone there too many times.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I think they want to rebuild. So like I feel like any front office that has half a brain that needs a quarterback, kind of like the Colts, kind of like the Titans, they would go for the number 1 pick, Bryce Young. Like you said, best case scenario, they fumble the bag just like we did, and they pick.
But dude, like the Colts knew, like they weren't even like trying in that game. Like they had.
And they still scored, like, what was it, like 30-something points on us? Like,
well, because most of their starters that were missing were on defense. And, that's Davis Mills' time to shine, playing against backups and third stringers.
He didn't even look that good.
Oh, yeah, he still didn't look that good. I'm like,
still.
I didn't have high hopes for Mills at the beginning of the season, but I was on the camp where like, let's see what he can do.
Were you a stan? Were you a stan?
I wouldn't say I was a stan. I wasn't a hater.
Oh, I definitely was. I saw.
Oh, you were.
Oh, hate.
It's called me Silky Johnson.
You were the Silky Johnson of Davis Mills. You hated him.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like none of it.
Wow.
And like Rios, let me ask you, since you're more familiar with this. CJ joins the team. Okay. What else do we need to focus on draft night? And do you think we can come out of draft night a better team
Most
with
definitely.
CJ?
So if they go, let's just say, the Colts get, traded for one, they get Bryce. You got to go CJ number 2. And from there, you got to trade up and get Quentin Johnson from TCU. That's wide receiver 1 right there. You want to put as much weapons around CJ as possible, like, to kind of emulate what he has at Ohio State, because he has Marvin Harrison Jr. at Ohio State.
Because we know Cooks is leaving, right?
So you're gonna need the your go-to guy. And
what about Mechie? You don't think Mechie has promise?
With CJ, no.
You don't think so?
He's played with Bryce Young, so like they have that chemistry already. I think playing with CJ, probably not right away. It might take some time, but I would trade up and try to get Quentin Johnson. Like you want to
Can we make that happen? Could we make that happen?
We're picking number 12 with the Browns pick, so we can probably move back into the top 10 without giving up too much to get a guy like Quentin Johnson. Because there's not a ton of wide receiver needy teams that are picking in the top 10. So you definitely have the ammunition to move up, get a guy like that. And from there, just build your interior O-line. And then you can address the defense in free agency.
Is there any like decent free agents that we can look at, or
no?
Is it just gonna be like mid?
Honestly, I don't think you need a superstar as far as on the defensive side, because with the right coaching, they played well considering the lack of talent. I think with the right coaching and plugging a few holes on the front 7, they can have a middle of the pack defense and maybe a middle of the pack offense, and build on that.
Well, that's the thing, right? With the right coaching, so we know Lovey's out.
Yeah, I called it.
You called a lot of things. You should have called that we were going to win the Super Bowl or something, because you've been getting everything right this season.
Right.
I'm not a liar, sir. I'm not going to call it winning the Super Bowl.
What would be the best coaching option, in your opinion, for somebody like CJ?
I'll go Kafka.
Is that a no-brainer for you, or?
Yeah, if you're gonna go at this point, it's probably you're going to go probably with the number 2 QB prospect. Yeah, I'll go Kafka. You want to go with the offensive mind. You don't want to pair him with a defensive coach. You want to go with an offensive mind, and from there, just hopefully they bring a good coaching staff along with them. Good coordinators, good QB coaches, and just put the weapons around them.
Would you get him even if we were getting Bryce Young, or would you go with somebody else?
I think with Bryce Young it could be a little bit different, because he's learned to play with a lot less talent, and he's had to carry Alabama this year. Like a lot of the games they won was because of Bryce.
Yeah.
He didn't have a true number 1 receiver, average running game. He had a great offensive line, but at the end of the day, like if you don't have someone to throw the ball to, it doesn't matter how much time you have in the pocket.
Yeah. True, but that a great offensive line is not something that we can give him.
No.
So.
All right. Rios, I did a small little mock draft. I want you to. It says I got an A on it.
You got a mock draft.
First day he got his life.
Yeah, first day. Yeah, I'm already better than the Texans. No, let me see. All right, give me 1 second.
We're gonna have to do a mock draft ourselves, and we gotta discuss it. Oh, look at this! I didn't know we could do this.
What?
Oh,
look at that. So, I mean, this is if the Bears took Will Anderson as number 1 and we took number 2.
That's best case scenario right there.
Yeah, best case scenario. So like
Quentin
right
Johnson.
here, it shows like they got Quentin Johnson. This kind of makes sense in a way if they did that, because they're trying to get rid of D-Hop. So this would kind of make sense in a way. And the Colts taking Will Levis, like that would be a scenario. The Lions taking Jalen Carter.
So what that tells me is the reason you got an A is because you got Bryce Young.
Yeah, and then I got since Quentin Johnson wasn't available, I got Jordan Addison from USC, which was, and then obviously I chose a center, but obviously they didn't give me that good of a grade on that one. But it was the only center available.
He basically shut down Jalen Carter in that playoff game, and
Which
he's
one?
not this Luke Wilbur.
Yeah,
he shut down Jalen Carter. And he's not even highly ranked. Like it's crazy. He shut him down. Like the dude was a no-show in that game.
Yeah. So that would be a best case scenario right there.
Yeah. Best case scenario, we would have lost Sunday.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'll be talking
Yeah,
about
no,
how
exactly.
excited we are. That
We
we're
would be
getting Bryce
doing
Young.
mock drafts. We would be doing mock drafts with Bryce Young immediately on the front, and then everything else behind it.
Yeah, Addison's not a bad consolation prize receiver either. He's not Quentin Johnson, but he's not a. He could still be a number one receiver in the league.
How tall is he?
He's 6 foot. He's not that tall, but
okay. You better be fast now. You better be fast.
Well, was it DeAndre Hopkins was 5'11" anyway?
Yeah, well, you're talking about like an elite wide receiver. We like this kid can do it at the college level, but until we see him on the actual NFL, like
of course,
you know, everybody. If you want to get technical, everybody's very much boomer bust. So
yeah,
and some a little more than others.
Correct. But you never know. There wouldn't be the first time we see high picks not working out in the league.
Oh, I've been watching NFL for 30 plus years. I see
exactly.
Of course you have. Look at the jersey I'm wearing.
He was there when the league began.
look at the jersey I'm wearing. The Colt 45s. You know who gave me this jersey? Rios, when he used to play for them.
Damn, you were a big guy, Rios.
Yeah, you were pretty big, man.
I helped TCU win their championship back in '38.
Roids.
I was a star running back.
You weren't doing a lot of running with it if your shirt was that size.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, man. That's just how it is, dude. Like, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. We wouldn't be in this scenario looking for the best case scenario on a mock draft if we would have actually executed, did the assignment, and just would have tanked it. They
didn't understand the assignment.
They did not understand.
Do you think the Bears? Do you think we give them our pick and the Browns pick, and then they'll?
It's not worth it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
It's not worth it.
You got a lot of holes to address because if we had we still had like a guy like D Hop or a true number one receiver, I would say go for it, but we don't. Because I would use our first rounder on either Quentin Johnson or Addison because you're going to need a playmaker because Cooks is gone. I don't see Nico being a true number one receiver. He has.
No, I don't see him either.
I didn't see him on that. Remember what I said at the beginning of this year? Like, I expect a big year for Nico, and I didn't see that. Now then, again,
flashes. That's the thing, though. That's the thing. He had flashes, but remember, he had Mills to throw him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
so maybe with a decent quarterback, he could actually maybe not fulfill the potential, but take a step up. Maybe if we do get a guy like CJ, maybe like this next year could be a big year for Nico. But I don't know. I'm just really fixated on Bryce, man. I feel like it was ours to lose, and then we lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as a fan, I don't know how I forgive the organization for something like that, unless like I said, CJ comes good, and then with the rest of our picks, we actually address some of the issues that we have, and offensive line, defense, wide receiver. If that happens, then I'll put my hands up and be like, you know what, you guys can build your little park now. Like, I'm happy with the
you always
what's happening on the field.
To the park, huh?
Because I think it's a stupid thing that you said.
How is that stupid? How is that
so stupid?
That is not stupid.
It's so stupid.
No, here's why you think it's stupid. Listen, here's why you think it's stupid. Here's why. See, I can't even talk because you're over here doing things because you're not even listening. This is why you think it's stupid, and you think it's stupid because I said that would attract the fans. I said more fans. Now, is what you said more important as far as winning? Of course it is, bro. But the fact that you thought that was more important, I said you could attract some fans while you're trying to rebuild.
He didn't go to the game with us.
Huh? It's because he didn't go to the game with us. That's why. He's mad.
Listen,
Doppelganger went with
my
us.
My whole thing is that getting the number one pick and drafting the right quarterback was free.
Right.
In the park is like.
But you're thinking that's a priority though. Like that's what your mindset is on that. That's what I didn't say that's a priority.
No, my mindset is like it shouldn't even be talked about.
Why not? Like it should be part of the fan
experience. We're losing.
It's a fan experience. The Jaguars are losing. They added a pool to their stadium. Like,
they actually have a good quarterback, and guess what? They made it to the wild card.
Guess what? They added those things before they got the quarterback, sir. That's what I'm trying to say.
But that didn't make the team play better.
No,
that didn't make Trevor Lawrence.
When did I say that was going to make it better, though? When did I say that was going to make it better, though?
Weather,
I would love a pool, though. I ain't gonna lie.
True, that would be kind of cool in that stadium.
gives me the reason to show up shirtless.
But you know who it would be? It would be you know who it would be for? The season ticket holders or the people in the suites.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, if they make a pool or a park or whatever, who's to say that we're going to be able to enjoy any of those things?
You can enjoy the park outside.
I will finesse my way into one of those seats.
You want what?
I would finesse my way. I'm pretty good salesman.
Hey, girl.
I'm a very good salesman. I can find a way to finesse my way.
Yes, we know you sell.
I'm not gonna
anyway, man. So yeah, that's
anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So regardless, we were in a good situation. Now we're still screwed. In a way.
We were on the way
mm-hmm.
to turning the franchise around. And now we're hoping for best case scenarios.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world, but describe to me, tell me why this off season is gonna be different from last year's.
I think number one, you want to get the right coach. Get the right coach in place. Makes a difference. Look at the Giants. Look at the Jaguars.
Don't make me look at the Giants.
Brian
Davis, but you know what? They're
in the playoffs for the first time in 5-6 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at the Jaguars, first time in the playoffs in a few years. Like the right coaching turns teams around. Look at the Eagles when they changed coaches. Like
also a good quarterback.
That too, but like the first step is getting the right.
Hey, Reels. You know what doesn't turn the team around?
If you say small field, I'm gonna drive to your house and hit you with that bottle.
No, man, I don't know. Like, I have to be hopeful because that's what fans do.
Right.
That's why there's still a team in Detroit because fans are hopeful, you know.
But hey, they're doing okay.
They're doing okay now.
They were a game away from the playoffs, like.
Yeah.
And again, coaching. Dan Campbell turned the team around. Coaching makes a big difference. They don't have a franchise quarterback.
So, yeah, but the thing is like the thing about the coaching, right? You got to get the right coach, and you have to give him the right team. Because let's say we get the right coach, but we still lose 15 games, and then McNair fires him. Then we miss the window. We miss the opportunity. We pair the right coach with the wrong team, and then we get the right team with a bad coach. That's the thing.
So now I think what the Texans need to do is be consistent. Let's say
blow it up.
Like they have like they have to. They have to. Okay, so they have there's a potential quote. I mean, there's a potential list, right? Ben Johnson, from the Lions. Okay. He's an offensive-minded person, right? He's an offensive-minded coach, right, Rios? Ben Johnson? Yeah. Then there's D'Amico, which is, our hometown guy, play for the Texans, defensive-minded coach, right?
I'm tired of defense. Right. I'm so sick of it.
Then there's Jonathan Gannon from the Eagles, right? And then there's Ivero, is that correct?
Who's that?
Ejiro Rivero? I think that's the name.
What did he say?
From the Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos. Yeah, from the Broncos. That's where it was. Ejiro Rivero. Yeah.
I don't think I know who that is.
And then there's also another one is Shane Steichen from the Eagles as well.
And then there's Kafka from the Giants.
So I see that they're going for because a lot of these guys are what, like 40 or.
They're younger. They're definitely
younger. The younger coaches is what we were talking about. The younger coaches.
And they're established, like as far as being like coordinators. Because Lovey, he had a terrible track record in his last few years as that coach, with the Bears and with Illinois. Like he should have been an option.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, so going back to that's the reason I brought these names up. And Bobby was talking about, it doesn't matter. You have to pair the right coach with the right, the right team. The thing about it is the whole Lovey thing, he was the guy, he was like a bridge coach, like a coach that would bridge the whole situation.
Steady the ship, right? He was supposed to just steady the ship, right?
Right. With the whole situation with Brian Flores and not being hired, he was the guy that was looked at, we have Lovey here who can represent us for a little bit. And if we tank, he could take the heat and then he can go. He was a situational coach. I don't think they were planning to stay long-term with Lovey, but if somehow it worked out with Lovey, then they would have been like, oh yeah, we knew from the start, kind of a thing. Levy was put in a situation where he was the bridge, because we all knew David Culley wasn't going to be a coach. Like, that was the thing. David Culley was not a coach. And then you can say, like, I know there's people that look at this position, this coaching position that's open. You're like, well, what if I get fired like David Culley? So Seth Payne said, if people really have that mindset of what if I get fired like David Culley, if you're comparing yourself to David Culley and you're an established coach, you're already lost the job to begin with. Yeah, you already lost the job to begin with.
Put your 2 weeks in day one, basically.
Yeah, day one. You shouldn't be interviewing for it, right? If you're comparing yourself to David Culley, we all knew that was not going to be a thing. Come on, he was the wide receivers coach for the Ravens, who were like last place.
Zero touchdowns, and then you became the head coach for the Texans. Okay, this was during the time when the Texans were also trying to get Josh McCown. We've talked about that several times, as a head coach who had no head coaching experience in the NFL. Like, that made no sense. Like, if people made an issue about the Jeff Saturday thing, this would have been much worse. Does that make sense? Yeah, because Saturday was at least an elite player in the NFL. McCown was a career backup.
Like, yeah, exactly.
What are we doing?
I mean that doesn't. I don't feel like that matters all that much. But I see what
you're talking about, putting coaches in the right team, though.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
The level of respect, like, who are you going to respect more? A guy that's going to be a Hall of Famer, or a guy that was career backup?
So
career.
So with these guys,
the players, and that's up to the culture and the team. But
yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Oh, you said culture of the team again. Oh, I got memories of Jack Easterby. No, culture.
I'm sorry. I'm leaving.
Log out. Why is your internet working today, sir? No. And so
one time it works.
Yeah. And so that's the thing, though. Like, if you're gonna once you hire these coaches, you have to yes, you're gonna have to be. I know the Texans are trying to be in a win now situation.
They're not.
Or
you want to earn the fans' trust.
You need to make sure that these coaches that are coming up understand that it's gonna take time. You can't just keep firing coaches left and right.
But knowing the Texans with the track record they have, all of those people that we mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised if we got none of them. We just got like some random guy,
McCown,
sure, and then. We just got like some like non-consequential head coach, and then this year just becomes a write-off again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I don't see that for one reason. Casario's job is on the line. This conference, he sounded like he was very humble. Like, he knew, like, you know what?
He got humbled
big time. Like, normally he was very, I wouldn't say arrogant, but you can tell he had a sense of pride in the previous.
But would you be shocked? Would you be shocked if by the end of next season we're having the same conversation? Would you be shocked? Because I wouldn't be.
No,
I wouldn't be shocked. I'm hoping not, because I think
it's the hope that kills you, man. The hope that kills you.
The difference between coaches and GMs, coaching jobs, you could be terrible, you can still find a job. As a GM, if you suck, you're good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Name a GM who's had multiple GM jobs.
Yeah,
you'd have to dig.
I can't think of any on the top of my head right now.
You'd have to dig like really, really deep, because that's a tough position to get.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, these dudes, like, they hold on to that job for a while because it's a lucrative position, but because you're in control of the team, essentially.
Yeah.
Unless you're the Patriots, the GM is the one, running the show, aside from the owner of, like, if you have an owner like Jerry Jones, you're basically running the team.
Yeah.
So to get a job like that and screw it up, like, why would any organization trust you if you screw it up at one place? Like, what's the stop of doing it here?
True.
It would have to be a stupid organization, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
wouldn't it? It would have to be.
It would have to be.
It'd be the same team that made Bill O'Brien a GM and Jackie's GM.
Running the show, just running the show, doing contracts and all that.
You let a team
while you're supposed to be coaching. Oh God, the name Easterby.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 24 hours we say it on Twitter.
I know.
You guys won't hear from me for weeks.
Yeah. We'll shut it down.
I want to take a sabbatical in the Caribbean.
Yeah, exactly. You see Jack Easterby there? What are you doing here?
Oh, no.
That's my impression of Jack Easterby, and I stick to it.
I mean,
if I saw Jack Easterby where I'm on vacation, I'm gonna swim back to America. Buy a plane ticket, buy a boat ticket. No, I'm just gonna swim back. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. All right, really quick. I know we've talked about our Texans here and there. Let's talk about one thing before we end up going. Carlos Correa.
Oh God! Oh God! What is happening?
That man has been photoshopping every jersey in MLB.
27 more physicals to go. He's gonna end up in A's. Watch, he's gonna go with the Oakland A's.
If you go on Twitter, dude, it's like, oh no, he's going to the Padres. No, he's going to the Dodgers. No, he's going here. He's going there. He's going to. I'm like, dude. At this point, he's going to end up at the Sugarland Space Cowboys.
One dude fumbled the bag in his Carlos Correa. The Astros offered him a similar deal
to the Twins,
similar
right?
Time, similar structure, and I want to opt out, so I'm gonna go here. And look at him now.
The thing is, his physical, right? Like nobody.
He's scoring. There's big injury concerns because there's something that they're not telling us, and it's
exactly, and that's the thing. They're not telling us. So I don't know what's going on, dude. Like, how bad is it?
I think it's something. If he gets injured one more time, might be career ending.
Yeah, but the last deal that I heard, or at least on Twitter, was like $200 million 6 year. 6 years is a lot better than 10 years, 11 years he was asking for, right?
That's true.
So
the Astros offered him, like 5 years and like close to that. I mean, but again, you're playing on
exactly. But he decided not to go with it. He bet on himself. That's fine. He's that guy. He was one of the best shortstoppers in the game. Pero like 6 years, like if you're the Padres, if you're the Yankees, if you're like
easily could have matched that.
A lot of teams can just look past whatever injury concern they have and go for it, right?
That makes you take pause for like, wait a minute.
The Giants, like
contenders in offer that kind of it's not a huge deal.
It's not a bad deal. He's still what? He's 26, 27?
27, yeah.
So like it's not that bad of a deal.
But considering it's the Twins offering it and not the Yankees or somebody else, like I'm sure there's something that's on that physical that they realize, he doesn't have much. I don't think he even played. I don't think he finishes those 6 years. I think
maybe not. And but maybe he can give you, if he can give you 3 good years of production,
they'll take it.
A team that's on win now, like the Dodgers, like everybody was talking about the Padres.
He won't go to the Dodgers. He's not going to go to the Dodgers.
You don't like.
Yeah.
Fuck the Dodgers. But if you're a team on win now, 6 years, $200 million,
easy,
right? Easy, even with injury concerns.
But considering the team that offered them that is the Twins, who's not a win now mode, they're not going to sniff the playoffs anytime soon.
They're mid. The fact that he even went there.
I mean, he was trying. I feel like he was trying to use the Twins as a slingshot. You know what I mean? Because
I feel like he wanted to look good.
Yeah.
In a
stats,
average team, and then exactly.
Yeah, and then from there, that's what I mean. Why else would you add that clause to your contract where you can opt out?
Do you think? And I'm probably reaching a little bit, but do you think that the fact that Peña he basically completed baseball as a rookie, made Correa look bad?
I think
or not as valuable.
I think it lowered his value.
It did lower his value. I think so. Yeah, that's a good take.
Like Correa's best offensive season, it pales in comparisons to Peña's rookie year. And his rookie year, and like Peña, like he showed up in October, World Series MVP. Like he showed up. Like
it was like exactly.
Do you think that? And I don't know, I'm like going on a little bit of a tangent with Peña now, but do you think that? What would you call a successful season for Peña next year? Like, does he need to repeat what he did? Does he need to get better?
I would say if he can improve the defense, that'd be a win.
He had a little mistake. So if he had rookie mistakes.
So if he had, yeah, but he was patting those out towards the end.
Yeah.
Do you think if he has a step up defensively but a step down offensively, do you call that a successful season?
I would. Because you got enough firepower in offense now with all the bats added, Brantley, Abreu. You can, if he has a slight dip in production, it's not going to hurt the team too much because you got those 2 extra bats. But if he can improve on the defense and without the shift, like guys like Bregman and Kyle Tucker, they're going to eat this year.
Tucker is like
they're going to rake.
Like I was looking at a few takes on Twitter and. Somebody has said, "Oh, Tucker is my sleeper pick for like MVP or whatever," and I'm like, "Dude, like I'm not even mad at that." And I know I'm biased, obviously.
No, but a lot of his outs came on, hitting into the shift. I will say about, almost 40% of his outs came on hitting into the shift. Without that shift, don't be surprised he's batting 320, about 40 home runs, about 100 RBIs.
And it's a contract year for him too, so he's gonna look good too.
Oh yeah, he's gonna
look stupid. He does look stupid.
Exactly. All right, boys.
But yeah, man, Correa. I just don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah,
the Twins offer that, but like we said, I feel like the Twins might be playing games with him. They're like, no, we're gonna have to lower that because of that injury or whatever. It's gonna have to look more like 4 years, 130 million.
It's gonna keep going down for sure. I feel it too. Like it's gonna keep going down that value. It's just not. It just has.
I feel bad for him. I feel bad for Correa.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. 27 physicals later, the A's.
In hindsight, it worked out for the Astros beautifully.
Definitely.
It did. All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna call it a night. For really quick, tomorrow, the boys and I are going to do a little homage to JJ Watt through LTS. Let's Talk Sports, and we're gonna be talking a little bit about JJ Watt, what he meant to the city, things, great things that we remember about him and things like that. He just, he retired, and so obviously that was a big deal. For us also, even though he wasn't playing for the Texans anymore, but man, did he give us some good memories, didn't he?
Amazing.
So, one of the greatest Texans,
my favorite Texan that I've ever
definitely
seen.
One of the best. But check us out tomorrow.
1A, 1B, man.
We're gonna be live and through the LTS Let's Talk Sports channel tomorrow, same time, 7:30 p.m. Central. Check us out, and also don't forget our Spaces. On Twitter, it's usually Rios and I. Hopefully, Pop will join us one day if he's not too busy. Our space on Twitter, we call it Space City Sports. Not affiliated with that podcast, but Space City Sports Spaces through Wager Wire, and we'll be doing those at 10 a.m. Central till 11 a.m. Central. So,
and that's what day?
That is Sunday mornings. Now that the Texans aren't playing, we got moved down an hour.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, y'all, check us out, and that'll be it. Thank you guys for joining us today. This was our very first live episode of many to come later on. So thank you guys. Peace. See you later.